Welcome back. Now in January, over 2 million international tourists made their way to South Africa. And overall in 2025, the country experienced a 19% rise in international visitors, outpacing other major African tourism destinations like Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, the Seychelles and Ethiopia. This is of course a boon for the local hospitality industry. Let's check in on the sector with Brett Tungay, National Chair of the Federated Hospitality Association of Southern Africa. Brett, hi, good to chat to you on Business Lunch. We've beat out all those countries 19%. What's driving this? Is it our sun? Is it Cape Town, Johannesburg? What's doing this?
Your analysis is a little bit on the optimistic side, unfortunately. Okay, so let's delve down into the actual numbers. I think that is the important thing. If we look at what are we saying is a bona fide tourist? Yeah, it's the person that books a long-haul flight, books a package stay in South Africa, or a self-drive, a camper home, basically one of those. Okay, so that if we look at the actual numbers that are reported from stats, is anybody that travels into South Africa on a basically that's going to come through, even let's say coming across from Masiro to Vicksburg to go shopping and spends the night.
Sure,
that's a tourist. We don't, but as an industry, we want to delve a little bit deeper. So if we look a bit deeper, we actually sit with about, call it just shy of 1 million actual proper tourists that come into South Africa a year. The classic numbers that we're looking at. Now, those numbers are starting to get back now to pre-COVID. Yes, if we look at total arrivals that are coming in, you see that there's quite a lot of nuances there.
Yeah.
Remember, South Africa, especially Joburg, is the gateway for most of Southern Africa, most of actual sub-Saharan Africa. So we have a lot of tourists that'll fly in, let's say, from Germany, and they're going to Okavango swamps. They come into Joburg, they get stamped in, they might spend a night. Next day they fly out, they come back, and they go out again. Now those are then recorded as a coming into South Africa.
Sure.
So they're not exactly. So that's why we have to dig a little bit deeper into those numbers.
Brett, Brett, I just want to come in there quickly with you on those numbers. So the G20, in other words, we had all those delegates coming in. Are they classed as tourists?
No, those would come in as business travel.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Yes, there's certainly we see the full benefit, but if you look in terms of the total number of business visas issued, it's minuscule compared to the number of tourist visas. Okay. So where we're getting to on this is that South Africa, unfortunately, if you take the holistic picture, most of our peer group in terms of international long-haul destinations. So let's take Kenya, Tanzania, Seychelles, Thailand, Mexico.
Yeah.
Most of them, post-COVID, there has been a huge boom worldwide. And we've seen all of them double-digit growth. And I'm talking bona fide tourists, not all the rest. We unfortunately, South Africa, 6 years later, we're only starting to get back to pre-COVID numbers. And that is the actual shocking number. And that is what we need to, not only as government, but as private sector, we need to try and rehash and look at this. And what we need to do as well is that post the COVID travel market in South Africa has come down to basically being a bipolar tourism destination in South Africa.
Yeah.
We've seen now Cape Town, the Western Cape has bloomed. They are seeing amazing numbers. Same with Kruger, Mpumalanga area around Kruger, amazing numbers.
Now, Brett, how do we grow other areas in Johannesburg? I mean, Cape Town's the obvious, Kruger's the obvious. How do we grow Johannesburg and some of our other cities?
Okay, a lot of it, we've got perception issues that we need to change, and there's infrastructural issues. A lot of the travel that historically pre-COVID that went to a lot of these to bipolar areas, well, a lot of it was self-drive, camper home market, and then bus tours. But if you look at a lot of these areas, Free State, KZN, rural roads is a huge problem. Road infrastructure is a big hindrance in terms of the growth of that. Joburg, a lot of that is perception-based, crime, all the rest. But if we go back, a lot of it was exactly the same in 2019. Not much change. So how do we change the narrative and the story as the tourism industry so that we can get those numbers around? So where I always look at is that, okay, so let's say South Africa, around 1 million odd bona fide tourists that come into the country on long-haul flights every year. Phuket, an island probably the same size as eThekwini municipality, gets last time I checked, 3.7 million. That's just an area the size of Durban gets close to 4 times the international arrivals that we get in South Africa.
You see, Brett,
what are we doing wrong? We have the ability. If you look at our domestic tourism market, and we take some of those beds off, we have way more than enough beds in this country to handle 4 or 5 million bona fide tourists.
You see, Brett, this is what we're going to have to do. There has to be a wider discussion on this. There has to be some way to get people and those beds filled in South Africa. We're out of time, I'm afraid. This is something we could chat to for the next couple of hours because it needs to be spoken about. Brett, thank you so much. Good to chat to you.
Pleasure.
On Business Lunch. Thank you. That was Brett Tungay, the National Chair of the Federated Hospitality Association of Southern Africa.